Let's talk about what you really want. Okay, I've taken insights from over 50 people, taking them into their personal freedom blueprint. They think they want the money, the freedom, the peace, the health, the business, or the relationship. Today, I'm gonna explain how what we want not only always goes deeper than that, but it doesn't matter where you start, it always ends in the same answer. Imagine having 50 plus people starting in different avenues and then arriving at this same point. The first thing that people always tell me they want, really cool. So they tell me that they want peace, they want freedom, and that they want abundance, perhaps, or love, but from a loved one or my romantic partner. So this is the top level, right? What everybody wants: peace, freedom, abundance, and love. So I always start to ask them, like, what's more important than that? What's more important than peace, than freedom, or abundance? And they start to think, and they're like, okay, I'll go down, and maybe what I really want is connection. People would write down connection, or they would tell me what they don't want. So this is something very common in human behavior. Let's use that example. I don't want to be stressed. The issue with this is when you're focused on what you don't want, you start manifesting that into your life. So we need to switch from this challenge and we start to focus on what you do want. Maybe it's peace of mind, right? Peace of mind, just being present, okay? So initially you want to scale your business, deepen your relationship with your partner. As we go deeper, I'm always asking myself and others, what's more important than that? What comes first? What's the biggest domino that you need to knock out before you get all of these things? We can't skip the natural steps in evolution. We need to go back to where everything started. Maybe what I really need or want is more self-trust. So now this is where we start shifting from the outer world into the inner world. This is where real change starts to happen. This is where we stop blaming people, places, or situations, and we start taking full responsibility for our reality. There's a beautiful quote by the Ascended Master Saint Germain, and he says, people will evade situations, people, or places because they haven't mastered themselves. And that's the greatest quote that I can think of right now that allows you to see this truth. Right? If you haven't mastered yourself in an area of your life, you're going to be evading situations, businesses, people, because you haven't mastered that aspect of self. This is where we need courage. This is where we need to go deeper. So self-trust, okay, and then I ask, what comes first? What do you need to give yourself first before you can get self-trust? I want you to do this exercise with me, sitting in your own time and privacy. Stop thinking about the outer world. Think about your inner world, okay? You need self-trust, self-confidence, self-worth. You can see how we're starting to connect the dots, and we've started all the way from, it can be business, peace, freedom. You can't have peace or freedom if you're not fully connected inside of you. We've gone through all of these levels. I call it peeling back the layers. And now this is just an example, right? It can look a bit different for you. And this is where it gets really fun, because I'm guiding you to what you really need and want. And there's a split between you. There's a split between your heart and your brain. That's the brain. And this is the heart. So this is your true self, and this is the program, the matrix. We see a clear misuse of power in ourselves. We start to realize that the brain or the mind or the ego is governing the heart. The power that your heart has and that your brain has is too high, and the power that your true self has is too low. And when this happens, this means that the demanding parent within you or the inner critic is constantly bullying your true self. You're getting bullied by shoulds, by self-criticism, by judgment, by self-rejection. That happens to my mind. Or it can go deeper, and it can be very subtle ways that you judge or criticize or reject or separate yourself from your true self. So the secret to freedom, peace, is to understand that in order for you to create unity between your heart and your brain, you need to give the power back to your heart, to your true self. And how do we do this? This is the answer that everybody gets. Literally, imagine 50 plus people. Now that we've really gone deep, what I really need to give myself is unconditional self-love. Unconditional self-love. Some people might say they want to receive unconditional self-love from others, but when we reflect back that mirror, there's something in your consciousness, aka your programming, that isn't allowing you to be your true self, that isn't allowing you to be authentic. Because without unconditional self-love, you can't be free. You can't be authentic. You can't have peace, because you're always creating more separation within you, different masks, different identities. And so this is where we go to where everything begins. We've probably gone down 5, 6 levels. But once we get here, I ask the person, I say, what comes first before you can unconditionally love yourself? What comes first? There's one more step that goes deeper. Which one is it? What is the first step to unconditionally loving yourself? Meaning you can look at yourself in the mirror and smile and have no critical voice telling you something about yourself. Unconditional self-love means full acceptance of thyself. Full acceptance. And from acceptance comes power, and from power comes everything else. That is the final answer. Self-acceptance. And you might be thinking, wow, that's really easy. Gotta tell you, it's not at the beginning. You need a lot of determination, because it's not as simple of just saying I accept myself. You need to be courageous and be a warrior. This is what we need the most. Unwavering, unconditional self-acceptance. The ego, you don't have to accept your ego. That's a misconception that the spiritual world teaches. We need full acceptance. We need a full self-acceptance of your true self. What is your true self? Just think back when you were a kid. Childish, playful, creative, determined, having clarity. You have all of those qualities within you. The only step that you need to do in order to accept yourself is this. Stop accepting these suggestions of your ego. Stop falling for that trick. You have the power to completely dissipate the power that the ego has, which is your mind, your every 99% of the thoughts. Stop accepting the suggestions of your ego. Know that they're not true and start just sitting with yourself. That's the first step. I'm not saying you're going to be fully actualized and healed from this, but this is the biggest step. And then look how far we've come down, all the way from peace. And look at this, how crazy it is. Can you have peace? Can you have like true lasting peace if you're not fully accepting yourself? Can you have freedom if you're not fully accepting yourself? No. How can you be free if you're locking yourself in a prison? How can you know that abundance is your birthright if there isn't a full acceptance of your true self? How can you feel love for yourself and others if you're not fully accepting yourself? This is what we all need to do, and it's the hardest. We don't want to go down there. We don't want to accept ourselves because there's too much shame or guilt or rejection, and it's time for you to stop that, because all of those are patterns of the mind, of the ego. Let's speak about this. I'm gonna give you a first step into the next level. Who is your true self? And it's not only the child within you, the inner child. It's something way greater. God, the creator of the universe, the oneness, wanted to individualize himself, to express love and share that love of itself. It got individualized in us. So inside of us, we have the individualized presence of God, which is called the I Am. Not many people know this. It's the most important knowledge that we need to learn, especially right now. So the individualized presence of God is in you. That means that you're the son of God, not the son as S-O-N. You're the son, S-U-N, the son or daughter of God. That means that you're royalty. That means that you have a divine birthright to use your free will to access the power of God, to access and accept the power of God within you. This is how we claim our true divinity. Okay, I'll have to do some other videos or some other video explaining this more in depth, but this is a hint, a invitation for you to explore this more, because if we all knew on the deepest fibers of our being that we are the sons and daughters of God, the creator of all there is, would we be really giving our power away to the ego? No. We would be commanding, not hoping or wishing. We would be commanding that voice to be silenced and to only accept God within us, our true nature. So that is the conclusion of this video. Hope that you liked it. Let me know your feedback, your thoughts. I really enjoy this.